Child 44 is a mystery thriller starring Tom Hardy as an investigator in the Soviet Union who, through a series of political backstabbing, becomes disgraced and outcast to a small dead-end town, a move which is not enough to stop him trying to solve a series of child murders that are almost certainly the works of a serial killer. Now, Child 44 has been accused by some as being anti-Russian propaganda. I don't think those claims are wholly unjustified, to be honest, but I don't really care. What I do care about is whether the film is entertaining. And is it? Well, long story short, no. You see, a huge percentage of the runtime is dedicated to Hardy sniffing around, investigating and interrogating those who may have clues about these child killings. But the replies are always, there can be no murder in paradise, there can be no murder in paradise, which is also the quote the movie opens with. Some say this ironically, others in fear of saying the wrong thing and being killed for it. The reason being is that Stalin introduced this idea that in this perfect communist world, it is not possible for a human to murder another human, as murder is a Western disease, and anyone who even so much as whispered the word killer is bumped off. Thus, even the parents of the children who were murdered are forced to acknowledge that their child was accidentally drowned or hit by a train, much to the frustration of the investigator Tom Hardy. The thing is, there are far too many repetitive scenes of officers, witnesses, parents and others saying there can be no murder in paradise, there can be no murder in paradise, to Hardy who is starting to pull his hair out, and I was right there with him. I do not live in the Soviet Union, and I am aware that regardless of whether you live in the West, Russia, the North Pole or 3 doors down the road, murder can happen and will continue to happen as long as the human race exists. So why am I having this message drilled into my head for almost 2 hours? It's boring. I do appreciate when filmmakers take a story that can be told anywhere and take it to a specific time period or location to enhance the experience, like say Fargo or Blade Runner. But the thing is, without the movie taking place in a place where people refuse to believe that murder can happen, there is no film. It's a core element of the movie, and once Hardy bands together a group of people who are willing to believe, it becomes a very by the numbers and straightforward search for the killer who gets found, gets what's coming to him, and then the film finishes. So what I came to watch the film for in the first place only takes place in the last 20 minutes or so, and only after being punished with a dreary message about the fact that yes, people can kill. I know this, I'm not an idiot. Can we move on please? Once the actual story does kick in, it does so without any real tension or sense of purpose. It just kind of goes. And once it's over, you find yourself asking, what was the actual motivation for this film to get made in the first place? It all feels very pointless, lacking enough firepower to stand out in a crowded genre. The first half of the film does have some potential. There are several plot threads which you think will make up a significant portion of the film, like Hardy's wife being suspected of treason and him having to spy on her, tail her around, trying to find out the truth, or a nasty comrade trying to set Hardy up to be killed. The film dabbles here and there before settling on the most boring plotline with Hardy trying to convince people that murder is a thing. And then the movie itself remembers that it does actually have a murder to solve. The killer, whose identity is no surprise seeing as though he's the only big name actor from the opening credits who hasn't yet appeared, just kind of shows up randomly. Once he does appear somewhere in the latter stages of the film, the movie starts to get really messy with Hardy teleporting to different towns and cities so constantly that I just gave up trying to keep up. Performances are okay, I guess. Tom Hardy mumbles and grumbles as he does. Noomi Rapace plays the wife, which depressed me because her appearance reminded me of what a disappointment Alien Covenant was. I still haven't got over that. And Gary Oldman is just kind of there. It's one of those films where ultra-English looking actors recite their dialogue in English but in funny Russian accents, so there's that if that's what floats your boat. I really can't say I'm a fan of this movie. The best aspects were its ability to convince me that I really was seeing events in the USSR take place, and the developing relationship between Hardy and his wife, which was by far the most engrossing thing about the film. But these are side elements, little things that should enhance a film that is already good. When the meat of the film is as dreary and as stale as Child 44 is, these things don't count for much. The film gets a 4 out of 10 for me.